Hello and welcome to Space Engineers on Planets Episode 2 or Part 2 or whatever we end up calling this series. A couple of people did say they actually wanted to see more of this, so I decided to make more. I've been away for a couple of days, not actually been away or anything, I've just been upgrading the computer. I was noticing there was some frame rate issues last time, so I got a 980 Ti. Any excuse to get a new graphics card, yeah, that was valid. So, we're in game now, and at least I'm getting at least 50 frames per second. Unfortunately, a lot of people are playing this game are not getting 50 frames per second, and that's something we're just going to have to wait for optimization for from the game developers. Unfortunately, not much I can do there, really, to give you some hints or tips to make it any faster other than buy really expensive pieces of equipment, which obviously you don't want to do. So, where were we? Yes, I'd stripped down the ship a little bit more. I've taken out of these plates and just dropped them down unwelded. That saves quite a lot of the components. I've also, if we just hop out of here for a second, we got a buff on the jetpack. It lasts longer now, thank God. If we turn around, you'll notice I've moved the engines from up there down here. And that's really given me a lot more space upstairs, using the jetpack, to put all four of these down. And I can put even two more across the back. Yeah, I should be able to get two more across the back. I don't need those right now because I'm going to need those components for those two for the first exploring buggy. So we're going to get to that shortly. And I may, well... do I really need these? Not really. I can drop down. So let's get started with the buggy, shall we? I made a platform, and we just did that by putting a station block down. And if I just grab a station block for a second, where are you? And choose it, you'll see that as I put this down, you see this huge box that I've got all the way around, huge green box. It's a random colour when you get yours. It just means that I can put this block down anywhere inside this huge green blocks, and it will stay aligned with our other station block. So have no fear, we don't need to actually worry about trying to align station blocks to each other. So this platform is just here to serve as a base for building our buggy on. Bear in mind, you can just build it on the ice, but if you do, well, if you need to get under it, you're digging into ice, generally, and that's that. I like this landscape as it is near my little stream there. And a picket fence. Yeah, just a stream. I quite like it as it is, so let's get started by just putting a small station in for me. Well, I actually need some components for this. I do. Yep, you need construction components. Let's just get a few things. So, hopefully you guys are going to enjoy this one. We'll see. I've tried a few different designs. You pretty much want bits of everything for this. Yeah, there's nothing really that you don't need, so let's just get a few of everything. Do be very careful with these power cells. You cannot get them back once you put them into batteries, so be careful about placing those down. I don't mind too much at the moment. Interior plates, solar cells I can come back for. Okay, so let's get started. Convention really here is to build a buggy that is at least 4 wheels, and most people go to 6 to 8 wheels. So if we put down a landing gear, this is just the base, and it's a temporary strut. If I just put my jetpack on for a minute, and I'm just going to go... Oh, give that back. I'm just going to go up a few levels, probably 4. And we're going to use this strut as the temporary, if you like, space here. And once we're finished, I'm going to cut all this back down, and then the whole buggy will drop. So let's get started with the buggy. First of all, the frame. We're going to fit solar cells inside of this. We don't necessarily need to. I can also put some reactors. But in order to do that, I'm going to need a certain size to fit them. Now, solar cells are 4 wide by 8 long, if I remember rightly. If I don't remember rightly, I'm going to have to make some adjustments. But I'm going to probably make this something like... maybe even be 5 wide, we'll see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... So I'm just going 5 off, so this is going to be 11 wide before I start on the edges, which will make it 13 wide, I guess. And that is just by rotating these blocks like this, and just a couple of blocks in the same fashion. And then off here, yeah, I'm not sure how high I want to make this, so for now I'm going to put a block like this. I could Yeah, I could have done it there and not had the solid block. I'll rearrange that off camera. And we want to put wheels in place. Now, wheels are a bit difficult to deal with if you haven't done them before, particularly in Space Engineers, but we want the 3x3 suspension. And we're going to put this wheel on the end. Now, we need to align this one. I never get these wheel alignments right. Okay, there we go. We need to align it like that. That 45-degree angle bit, that needs to kind of point down towards the ground, if I remember correctly. If I don't, I'm sure someone will actually mention this. Usually people end up getting at least one wheel, or the wheel is the wrong way up. And when they do that, there tends to be some issues. So there we've got a wheel. And I'm going to go around and do much the same kind of structural thing all the way along. Just putting, if you like, I don't know, miss maybe 4 or 5 between them. What I want to make sure of is that when I put the wheels in place, the gap between the wheels is going to be large enough for me to step into. If you don't do that, things can be a little tight. So yeah, I'm just going to say, let's say 5 in between each wheel strut. I'm going to go around, I'm going to make an entire frame like that, do it off camera. And until we get ended up with an 8-wheeled frame with this bar rising up in the middle and down on either side. And the reason why it's going up in the middle is because a lot of the equipment I'm going to fit to this is going to protrude downwards. It's not going to be very flat. Now, you can build land very flat, like almost like here level, or even here. But if you do, suspension's going up and down, you're going on hills like that, you're not going to have a good time. So, let's see how this goes. I'm going to do that off camera. And here we go. Sorry if you saw any intermittent audio from the game in the last segment, just before I came on, because the home and end keys were used in OBS to mute the desktop, and they're also using here to rotate blocks. So sorry about that. That should be fixed now. As you'll see, I have a control panel here, and that's for a specific reason. As I've gone around and placed each wheel, I've gone in here and labelled it, because you can control things like whether the wheel steers or whether it's just a drive wheel. And it's much more convenient if you actually sort that out as you're actually placing them, rather than try to figure it out once they're already placed. You've got to very much remember which order you place them in otherwise. And as you may already have seen from other videos, I'm got a terrible memory, so yeah, I just label them as I go. Good tip. There we go. I'm just getting some more pieces, and I just want the actual wheels to be complete largely. I don't need too much more. They don't take very long. Obviously, I'm on faster welding than normal just because this is a YouTube video, and the last thing you want me to see is non-instant welding. Kind of boring. So now we've got a frame in place, and I can just weld up a little bit of the legs, and they're done. I'll do the rest of the frame later. We don't, strictly speaking, need this control panel anymore, but yeah, I'll get it started. The next thing we want to actually do is the cargo can. You can put small ones in place, but if you put small ones in place, they hold. Well, I've got 10 times inventory, but they don't hold very much by comparison to a large one. So the way we want this is to rotate it such that the large spaces are up like this. I think I want the small ones like that. Yeah, that looks about right. See the bottom of this cargo can? It's rough. Well, it's going to be in line with the center axle of the wheels. Once this comes down, that might be a bit too low, in fact. Yeah, tell you what, let's just put it one higher, just in case. The last thing I want to do is use a cargo cam for suspension. Was it there? Let's just rotate things like that. Yeah, that looks much better. Yeah, obviously this suspension system, this axle is going to go up to about here. So just bear that in mind. If you're building anything, you want it to be not any lower than that, really. So if I just drop this in place, I'm going to need a motor. Should have picked up motors anyway. My own fault. We don't have many of them, I don't think. Not unless I start taking engines apart anyway. And I don't want to take engines apart just yet. Although I'm not going to be flying that thing for much longer. There is a redundant engine under of each type apart. Well, there's a redundant of each type apart from the large ones, which I want to keep. If you don't have enough large ones, the thing won't get off the ground. So we've got we've got a medium cargo can, and that has 33,750, which is many times our current one, 8 times our current one, or something like that. And as such, that's a pretty good start. We also want a seat for this. Now, we've got 2 choices for sitting in this thing. Well, we've got a few choices, actually. There are cockpits of various kinds, modded varieties and others. And they're good, but you then have to put air vents on them or some way to connect oxygen up, and because they're closed, they close around you so that you can't just be open. The alternative is, just like the actual lander, we have seats. There's a flight seat, which is a bit bigger, and it requires 100 computers. Or there's a passenger seat. So if we go for the passenger seat, however, we will need another block called a remote control. Because the passenger seat is just a seat, and this has 15 motors. So given our current situation, we don't really want the full flight seat, I don't think. Maybe change it later. And I'm going to put mine probably around here. It may seem like an odd position to be in. Let me just weld this up. But the visibility shouldn't be too bad, because we're going to be using third person most of the time. And we're sat on the back of our cockpit, not on our cargo can even. And that should be okay. This is the other reason why, this is the main reason why I'm building this strut up like this. So that when this is on the ground, I can walk in between and get into the cockpit. Straightforward, right? So, and then you can do other things like, you can just build blocks under here as some kind of support, which is fine to do. I probably will do something along those lines, like this, and the same here. However, I think near the front or somewhere accessible, what I'm also going to put in is a couple of reactors. Now, I may not have the components for these immediately, but I should at least have the ability to place them down. And yeah, I mean, look at the components there. There's lots of miscellaneous stuff that I don't need to fill in yet. I will weld these up, but I'll probably leave these reactors alone. Haven't decided yet, but I'm going to provide an alternative once we actually get uranium. We're not going to have uranium immediately, so you could just leave these out. I'm being a bit too delicate with this. Okay. So that's that sorted. What else do we need? Well, we need this remote control block, so let's place that. And there's no reason why we can't just place it here. Do bear in mind, when you place this, you want to make sure that this triangle has its long axis pointing forwards. Otherwise, you're going to get all kinds of issues. So there we go, the remote control block. And in front of this, maybe you're going to put the ore detector. Now, I don't think I have any detector components on me. I don't have the super high range ore detector, I don't think. These are the azimuth ones. I'm not sure if I'm subscribed to that mod. So if I'm not, don't worry. Let's just put this here. Doesn't really matter where you put that thing all that much. Usual convention is to put it forward for thematic reasons or put it pointing down for thematic reasons. I don't actually mind all that much. Let me just add one. Those 25 came from that ore detector underneath the main lander ship, so we don't actually need all of those. So we should be able to make many of these with it. There we go. So we've kind of got a sub-assembly, if you like, here, and I don't want to go and block the seat off too much, so we'll probably put sideways struts in here some point, so I can still get in between these back 2 wheels. Just weld a couple of those up, just so that I can get to, well, I don't need to weld all this up and take pieces off later to get to welding it. One of the important bits about this last bit, actually, is to make sure that this is accessible. am I still subscribed to the mod, I wonder? Connector. I am. Slim connector. It's a mod which, as it sounds like, provides a slim connector. The main connector would be like a full block height, so it would be up here somewhere. And I want this to be fairly sleek when it's on the actual ground. Mainly, I'm running out of motors. I am going to have to take some of these engines off. Never mind. Let's get rid of you. That's a lot of motors. Obviously, one of those is redundant, so we don't have to worry too much. Let's jet back on. That's X. And usually I end up falling through, but in this case, no. So we now don't have to worry about getting to that port because we've covered this with a connector. Connector lets us get into the inventory, both the slim connector itself, which has got some inventory space, which will take us almost up to 10 times our inventory space total. But later we're going to use that to unload and load into this thing, as well as recharge. Once you connect up that to the main ship, this should be able to recharge from it. Speaking of recharging is the next bit. Now, if you don't, or you aren't sure, do not put this bit in place until you're sure, or at least don't weld it up. This is the battery. Now, I'm going to put them here, like this, which should give me some room on each side. An extra block of room, just to put a cushion of, well, a spacer block. When you weld them up, they're going to use up power cells, as you see on the right side, 20 each. You don't have any way of recovering or making those at the start of the game. You start with a number of them, enough for 12 batteries, I think, at least this size of battery. But don't waste them. They're the only things you can't recover back by grinding things down. So be careful. Now, other than that, this is very, very simple. There's not really much going on for it. Now, because we're in daytime, of course, this is rather easy to actually move around. But at nighttime, you'll find it goes very, very dark. So you're going to need some kind of lights, of which there are many. The one I'm looking for the front are called Extreme Interior Lights. They're not vanilla. You can use vanilla ones if you want. These are modded. In fact, I don't even need two. These are stupidly powerful, and they use power, unfortunately, but the front one, let's just put one in the middle there, and let's just weld this up. Come on. Oh, I'm out of construction components. Yeah, they use a lot more than the typical lights, but I actually want them. Bulletproof glass, 20 metal grids. Okay. Let's get that. Bulletproof glass, by the way, is why we cut down the windows in this lander. Bulletproof glass, construction components, and what was the other thing? Oh, never mind. I'll just fill it in and sort it out off camera. There we go. Oh, metal grids. Yeah, I'll sort that out later. And why not? Let's just weld this while we're here. And in addition to that one light on the front, which looks kind of interior-ish, you can put spotlights on as well. They are vanilla items, by the way, so if you want spotlights, they look like this. And I'm going to just demonstrate that by using these on the sides, I think. Like this. And you're probably going to want at least one or two on the back. It really does get very, very dark when you're out at night time. Even with your personal lamp, you are going to be going at speeds of up to, I don't know, 80 miles an hour maybe. And without lights, it's a interesting situation. So at this point, what we want to do is go in here, go to the remote control module and turn on the handbrake. You'll be able to do this once you're in the seat anyway, but we won't be able to be in the seat and cut this thing off, which is what we're going to do. Can we do it now? Why not? Yeah. Now this is the problem. Remember when I said you don't want things to hit the floor? Yeah, I hit the floor. And the reason for that is, and this is going to be hard, there we go, is because Oh yeah, ship fuel low. I know. Let's just first of all make a wheels group. Let's call it wheels. Innovative. And what we're going to do is just change some of the parameters here. Control click on these to actually change things. I'm going to set 0.5 as the steering angle. I will come back to this in a minute. Some of you may have different opinions about this, but don't worry. We'll get to that. And then what we're going to do is increase the strength a little bit. I'm going to put it up to 5. Damping is going to come up. Maybe 15, 20, something like that. Friction power I'm going to leave alone. Height offset. You see it's minus 45 at the moment. And you'll see over on the right hand side of the screen that, yeah, things are on the ground. We're going to increase that. And everything jumps up. So let's just change that until we get to a reasonable height. In fact, let's just increase it fully. And the speed limit I'm going to take down to under 100. That'll do. Let's get out and see how we've done. So we've got a reasonable amount underneath the actual central cockpit, although we don't need that bottom layer. We could rearrange that if we wanted a bit more height. I may do that actually, just to give us a bit more room. And all the rest, we should have enough suspension travel to sort this out. And I still have enough room. I can walk under it. Well, kind of. I need to kneel to walk under it and get in.
Ship fuel.
And yes, that's just because I don't have any power. So, what's next? So here's the next step. We actually want to put solar panels in, and solar panels are a little bit difficult to place. They have kind of very specific requirements, and very often it's hard to get those. And in this case, yeah, you just gotta choose the right block. If you have difficulty placing them, you can place them crosswise or lengthwise. Because I've built this to be, well, let's have a look at the internal blocks. I think they are 5, so we got, here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, the 5 small blocks wide. I built this 11 wide because I want the seat centered, because I'm OCD like that. If I wanted these 2 solar cells to match up properly, I'd have it 10 wide, and then I couldn't have a central seat. You can't win either way. Either way with these blocks. So yeah, if they were an even number wide, I could probably get away with it. I think. No, maybe yeah, you can come then. So what are we going to do? Yeah, they're fine as they are. I'll just put a block in between them like this. That should do. I'm trying to be a bit careful with their placement of the solar cells, because the problem that you get with them is somewhat fragile if you turn upside down and they're exposed in some way, or you get stuck and they get exposed. I've seen both of, just in trialing this with a few people in multiplayer, I've ended up with situations where they've just been obliterated by by people not being very careful. And that kind of leads us on to our next part. People not being careful. You see I've got a gap here. And that's somewhat intentional, because we need some way to right ourselves if we go upside down. And there is only one real... Well, there's a couple of ways to do this. The way I don't want to do is I could attach engines to this. I could attach the same engines that we use over here. These things, the atmospheric thrusters. And I could put some gyroscopes on it. And that would help. Now I'm going to maybe put gyroscopes on anyway, just to aid if it starts to go over. I can probably correct for it. So, what was I looking for? Not radio comms. It was girders. And do I have any bulletproof glass left? I probably need some of the solar cells as well. Let's give that a go. Jetpack is so useful even on planets. So we're just going to get this welded. And the other one. Need these on the small ships. Don't need as many solar cells. You'll notice it needs 16. Those up there need 64, I think. Yeah, 4 times as much. And these are getting two spots each. Oh no, that's going to annoy me. They're opposite way around. Yes, I will fix those off camera. That's going to annoy me. want to do the right way around. Okay, so I don't want to put engines on, but let's have a look at the cost of gyros, just in case that actually does help turn things if it's going up in the air. So I'll put them on anyway, even though I may not absolutely need them. And you'll just have to move the remote control and the ore detector from underneath, from near there to here, just because this actually makes a bit more sense. And I'm running out of energy in my suit. Let me just put this in place and let's go and get some energy. And speaking of that, just make sure whatever you do, you don't grind down this medical room. You point at this, press T, and your energy goes up. You don't, of course, need oxygen yet because we're in an oxygen environment. Hydrogen, I may have already mentioned, but you get hydrogen. 1 second. I've disconnected the conveyor from the oxygen, so what you need to do is get up here. And I appreciate if you run out of hydrogen, that might be harder, but you can come in from above. Go into here, drop your bottle in, wait for it to refill, and take your bottle back. You can take even 2 or more. Having quite a few bottles of hydrogen inventory is very good when you're actually making larger ships. You can hover up in the air for quite a long time. However, when you run out of each, if you look at the bottom left, it says 42%. When that runs out, you will drop like a rock to the ground. It'll fill up and then you can fly again. So if you're really high up, it's not too bad because you can activate it before you hit the ground. Just bear that in mind when you're actually doing this, though. It may not be as you would expect. Let's just fill the gyroscope in. Again, these may not be too useful, but, you know, I'll have them on regardless. And now we want some kind of self-righting mechanism. Now, the problem with this, I've already mentioned the thrusters. That's one approach. You can try and do that to get the whole thing off the ground, turn with the gyroscopes and land. That also makes this a flying car. We're not going to make a flying car just yet. The other alternative is the Robot Wars kind. I'm not sure what it's called in America, but you know, your remote control robots that flip each other upside down and stuff like that. And you can do that in Space Engineers. A third way would be some kind of piston approach. I'm just going to keep it to be something like this. What I want is a rotor. And this is a tad annoying to get right. It tends to stick out as well, which is really annoying, but there's nothing much I can do about that one. I'm going to see if I can improve this design between the episodes, because there's something that I want to actually try on this that I wouldn't get to try otherwise. Let's just rotate these. And I want... Can I get 0 to be at the top? It's hard to see those numbers, I know, because I'm recording 1080p rather than 1440p, but let me just put that there for a second and set this to 0 before I think, oh, control panel isn't there anymore. We want control panel, rotor, and before this goes crazy, its velocity should be quite low to start with. Lower limit I want right in the middle, and upper limit I actually want not unlimited. I want it something like 180 is obviously all the way over. I want a bit more than 180, something like 200 maybe. Maybe that should do. Let's give that a go. Rotor displacement I don't care about just yet, and the rest is fine. So I'm just going to weld that up temporarily. Okay, is that going all the way over? I actually want it to come back to the center, well, the minimum if you like, before I do anything to it. Control panel, rotor, reverse. Okay, that's going all the way left. That's the way we want it. We're going to build a bar this way, which is going to flip all the way over and push us. Now, that's in the way of a wheel. I may have to turn this thing or move it around a bit. Actually, you know what? No, I'll leave it there. We'll come back to that. And you have to weld this front bit up as well, and then start attaching blocks. Now, you could just attach a block to this once I actually managed to be able to build onto the thing. You got to get the displacement right sometimes. Let's just get this sorted. Otherwise, I may have to put it one further up. It's a bit finicky to get these right. Not something you can always do immediately. Let's just move this displacement. At the very top of the screen, you'll see it pushing out away. Is that enough to get me a block built? It isn't. All right, let's destroy this thing. And you. And no, I'll keep you. And let's put you... Let's put you one further in, I think. I know this is not quite as nice. No, actually I don't want you there. One further up then. And where's the rotor block? And I think it's just that the displacement actually wasn't far enough over here. Is that why it was that? Probably was. Something along those lines. Yeah, well, let's just put it back here. It's fine for now. We'll sort it out later. And that was the jetpack running out. In case you didn't know. And me not remembering what I need to do on this. So control panel, let's try it again. Rotor 3. Velocity, just a little bit. Lower limit is going to be 0. Upper 200. And displacement, let's bring this all the way out. And let's just complete this by... Can we put a block in place there? Yeah, we can. And... Okay, so that's turning. We actually want it all the way left. Yeah, very good. Rotor, reverse. And what we're going to do is basically build a bar out from this. Now, my main problem with these, and it's nothing to do with the actual concept itself. The concept itself is fine. The problem I get with them is that it's not long enough. If you look at the width of this, imagine there's going to be a bar all the way across here, and it's going to rotate all the way around and push down on the ground if we're upside down, and drop you down on the other side. Sounds fine in theory, but if you've only got something the same width as what you've got, what tends to happen is, because of the shape of this thing, you end up in a almost, as it sweeps up, you end up with a triangle, an actual triangle with the ground. It goes over a bit, and then it starts to come back down on the other side. So that's somewhat of an issue for me, really. I don't really like that. So this isn't guaranteed to work because these parts are somewhat fragile, but I wonder if I can make a piston that will extend the length of this lever. And if there is, that would be very nice indeed. I don't know how good it is. This isn't Direct 11 compatible, unfortunately. So I can't get the intermediate build states, and it'll look black until the thing is actually positioned. I think this is going to be the right way around. There we go. And then I'm going to put blocks on the end of this, I think. I'm going to need a computer. I'm going to need a computer. Ow. Computers. There we go. And it's still black. Okay, that's not DirectX 11 yet. It's a long piston, it's a modded item. I could put 2 normal pistons on. To be honest, that would work as well. I'm going to look for DirectX 11 compatible one. If not, just think of this as using a... me being able to use a long piston. Sorry, 2 normal pistons, and we'll figure that out. The other thing I want to do is put a block down below this, like this, and then we're going to look for an item called maglock. Do I still have them? I think I do. Maglock surface with terminal, maglock surface. Yeah. These are just an alternative to the default landing gears. Landing gears. You can put landing gear here to point upwards to catch this and hold it steady while you're actually driving around. However, yeah, why use vanilla when we've got some modded items? And so what I need to do while I'm doing that is just reverse the rotor. Yeah, there we go. Let's just put you down. And I'm going to put another couple of blocks just to get this the same height. And then our mag locks. There we go. Oh, they require modded items. Well, isn't that annoying? Fine, we'll use default landing gears then. I'm just going to need to go down one further for that. And it's going to need to be about here. I want to say that's about right. Or, nope, nearly. I actually want it here. That's fine. I'll just need to leave those there so they don't fall off. And then a landing gear. Hopefully you should do. I'll have a look into the maglock component requirements. Is that even one too high? Well, we'll see shortly. Oh, I need to rotate it. 6. There we go. Like that. And then we want to rotate this thing back. You'll see it's all the way over on the tyre at the moment. That's fine. It's going to push that tyre down. I will, of course, deal with that in a minute. We're going to come back to here, rotor, and reverse again. And if I go to the landing gear, wherever you are, so it's auto lock. And it's one shot. Okay, rotor. Let's set the maximum to 10 degrees. And reverse. And then we want a just a regular angle block will do. Or even a solid block, it doesn't really matter at this point. Yeah. I almost want the whole set lower, so this will be like a 45 degree angle. We'll sort that out when I have time. So yeah, let's reverse it again. There it goes, it's locked. So if we set our upper limit to back to, let's say, 210 now. What I also want to do is remember that this piston long, its velocity, I only want to be quite slow. And its minimum maximum distance, that's fine. So what we actually want to do is if we need to get out and flip ourselves, we trigger the rotor to reverse, and then, well, actually, no, we want the landing gear to unlock first. I'll make groups for these. We're going to unlock. Then we're going to go into the rotor, start that reversing, and then the piston long, we're going to reverse that as well. And as it comes over, the whole thing should extend, although it doesn't look like it is. Is that like a power? Okay. Let's just reverse. No. Why aren't you working? Do you need power? Attached, current position 0. Reverse. Reverse? No? You're not having it. Okay, let's just send as a rotor so it's not interfering with things. Maybe reverse and reverse. Okay, so we're stopped above the wheel. Will you extend? No, have I got this the wrong way around? It doesn't look like I do. Yeah, I'll figure this out off camera. I'm not going to need it immediately. I will correct it in the next episode just by putting probably... in fact, I'm just going to remove this for now. I'm probably going to put on proper vanilla pistons, because they're probably a better way to do this anyway. Oh, whoops. That happens. Don't worry though, because we are about to actually get things going. So, yeah, I need to weld a battery, or at least one battery, which I will do. Need some power cells for that. 20 of them. There we go. And when you build these things, you're going to get some power by default anyway, but we've already got some because of the sunlight. So once we're in the seat, you're then going to press K, go to remote control, press control, which is on this. And you'll see, because I've got gyros on this, I can actually tilt it forward and back like this. It's responding to my mouse. So if you don't have those, that's not going to happen. Just bear that in mind and remove them accordingly if you don't like it. However, we also want to go into the wheels and then select the middle set of wheels and turn steering off, because otherwise you're going to get problems. And everything else I think was already set right. So what we're going to do then is go into this view, press G, go to groups, not groups, sorry, all blocks, go to the remote control and drop it down to the bottom, and then choose handbrake on off. And you see it's on at the moment. If I press 1, it's off, so I can go forwards, which means I can explore. And this works fine. No problems. We've got a buggy to start off with. And yes, it's still a little bit flat, so I could extend the wheels down a little bit more. The easy way to do that is just to put pistons into the middle and fire them downwards into the ground so that you can jack the whole thing up. But it does work. I'm probably going to put angle slopes on that rather than this. So if I just go and get rid of these, we can use a different set of ramps. 2x1s, which I want that one, light armor slope, rotate, rather than the regular kind. This actually stops here, and then there's another block that carries on, but that will be into the ground, so we don't actually need that, which is kind of convenient. Let's get in. Okay, remote control, control. Go into third person, and then I should be able to just reverse back up. And then whenever I want to stop, drop the handbrake, and we're done. So while we're out here in the middle of nowhere, we can get around to where we want to go. And where we want to go, and this is what we're going to do next episode, as well as maybe I'll show some more corrections to this design, is those dark patches over here. If I head out over here now, and my hydrogen is going to run out soon, so better slow down. There we go. If I just select my drill for a second, character tools, drill, and get near here, if I look down, cobalt, 25 meters, ice is what we're looking at, so yeah, of course there's ice. What we're probably looking for is iron. Iron would be nice. Or nickel, both of those. Just lots of cobalt, apparently. Yeah, ice, ice, ice. Any more? Okay, so on our first trip without the buggy, we don't really have much. But don't worry, that's something we're going to get to. Really, with the buggy, we need to explore all this, and you'll find similar dark regions on the land as well, just harder to see than versus the ice. And if I go this fast with the jetpack near here, I'm going to kill myself. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this second episode. It was just to really get us into a buggy and to get those exploration. We'll be building connections for that to the ship soon. I'm going to try and get this device working the way I want it. I really do want a piston though to make a really long lever. So I don't. The other way of doing it is to just to really make this velocity rather fast. So when it tries to get towards that triangle, you're flipping the whole thing over as fast as possible. It's really kind of janky and dangerous when you do that though. So I'd rather avoid it and just have a simple lever. Anyway. Thanks for watching the episode. If you haven't subscribed, if you want to see more episodes like this, feel free to subscribe. Leave a comment below if you've got any questions or any feedback, particularly if you want to improve the designs that you've seen. Feel free to either like the video if you like it, dislike if you disliked it. And next episode, we're going to build some sort of other machinery. Maybe. Probably some kind of connection to charge that thing from this ship. All right. Thanks a lot for the episode, guys. See you next time.